part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster. This is the podcast where I gather funny people to talk and recap MCU films and or prepare you for the next Marvel movie, which of course right now is the highly anticipated film Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, aka the one we've been waiting for. I have curated two of the finest guests, dare I say the best people to talk about this Marvel movie. No one better. They're so excited. They have so much knowledge. In our expert chair, they clicked expert on the Google form. They clearly are confidently coming to this podcast to spout their Marvel knowledge. So please welcome our expert, Laurel Zoff Pelton.
Hello, folks. It's me, Laurel, coming to you from Minnesota. I clicked it on a form, but it's all relative, right? With these things in the world of academia, like what is in pop culture expertise? I said it, but so it's me today.
And in our newbie chair, I have to be honest, I really didn't think this would happen. I thought this email would not be answered. I can't believe the most impressive man that I know. And yes, that includes you, Bill Nye the Science Guy. The most impressive man I know, more impressive than Bill Nye the Science Guy, our newbie expert, a dear, I even hesitate to say friend, a mentor, an inspiration.
We're friends. We are definitely friends.
You heard it here first, folks. Please welcome John Sabine.
Oh, I'm thrilled. I mean, honestly, good call on emails just because I don't like any part of the email experience, getting them, receiving them. It's a net negative every moment. I
used to email you all the time,
but I saw yours and I was thrilled and touched. And I was like, this is like, I've been looking forward to this. I'm very excited. And I want to talk to you about knowing Bill Nye the Science Guy off air. I want to learn more about that.
Please. We have a torrid affair. But
inertia.
Y'all, dear listeners, this is such a special episode for me. These are two very special people in my life. Formative, we could say, but how boring. We're not here to talk about them. We are here to talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Coming to Laurel first. Laurel, you are our Marvel expert. Why did you... maybe not why did... Whatever. You checked expert, whatever. What is your Marvel journey? Where are you coming from?
Okay, and I'm going to take this as the question of why did you click expert on the form? So I love Marvel movies. I've seen essentially everything in the Marvel universe as far as like the movies go, the TV shows, everything on Disney Plus. The only thing that I haven't really watched is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I always want to call Hobbs and Shaw. But it's not Hobbs and Shaw. It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And yeah, that one I tried to watch, couldn't get into it. I just couldn't get into it. And even Hawkeye, I watched Hawkeye and I watched the whole Hawkeye show. I could not watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was like, this feels like they're making me sit through 6 movies pretending it's one thing.
That's exactly what it was. Yes.
I like that.
So I was like, this isn't fair. I felt like I was being manipulated by the company Disney and I didn't watch it. But I love everything else. I had watched some of the Marvel movies with my dad, and then the pandemic happened, and then I was like, well, I think a lot of people hit that moment where they were like, I'm just going to watch everything. And I watched the whole thing in the timeline order, so in the release order.
Nice.
And so Doctor Strange, I will say, out of all of them, I think the second Thor, which was a big old trash pile of a human experiment. That felt like watching a failure. you know, and I haven't made a movie. I don't know how hard this is, but I have to say
that's true.
I don't know what I'll go goes into it. I hear it's a lot, and I know a lot of money and a lot of time, and these Marvel movies take a lot of energy too, and I really respect everyone involved. But that felt like I was witnessing something really personal, like a personal failure. But
Doctor Strange?
But Doctor Strange was my next least favorite.
I love Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
But if I can be real with you guys, I rewatched it today, getting ready for this, and I was like, oh, the story is actually really intriguing. Like, I'm kind of thrown off by Tilda Swinton being in this, but okay, I'm just going to accept that that's what's happening. And I thought about it, and I was like, I think the reason that I felt kind of like about the movie was just because of his goatee.
Fair.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, thank you, Laurel. This is not a goatee podcast. It is a Gautier podcast, though.
Thank you.
Going over to John Sabine, so it is a twofold question. Why did you check newbie on my infamous Google form?
Yes, I only checked newbie because comic book things, you have to be an expert to really appreciate. It's like Star Wars, and I view it as like, you can't talk about it if you haven't read the books of the fiction and I think I was wrong. I think I probably more than a newbie because I do love the movies. I love them in a way that make me feel really basic. Like I'm like, these are really good movies. I like get excited and I'll rewatch them and I'm like, this is good dialogue. Like this is good. Like, and I'm like, these are just blockbusters. Like, I feel like I'm like I feel like I feel like when people choose to not like those movies, it's a choice and they're not being honest. Like that's like, I think like, it's like, you just don't want to be a person that likes Marvel movies. I get it. Like you don't want to like it's cooler if you like other movies. I get it. Like, and I truly believe that. I think like if you give it the old shot, you would like be like, oh, this is very fun. I think it's really well written. The dialogue, I think they do such a good job of making crazy things seem reasonable and normal. And like, they take time with like how fun it is. I love it. Like, I really love the time they take. I think they actually are like thoughtful in a way that's nice. Oh, yeah. And I love Doctor Strange.
Yeah, because the thing, like, we're not starting with Multiverse of Madness. Like, we've earned this.
Yes, they've earned it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they've super earned it. And even with like the going back in time of Endgame, spoilers, like I feel like it should have felt like a cop out. And it didn't. It felt like, this is the only thing you can do.
Repurpose your old footage.
Like Captain America puts the Soul Stone back on, Vormir or whatever. You're like, how did you do that? Did he run into the Red Skull? I have so many questions.
John's.
What did he do with this? What did he do with the Soul Stone? Did he get someone back when he returned it?
John, you're just supposed to focus on. He found Peggy. They fell in love. He found love.
I love that moment. I mean, it's so even that like that's so sweet, and it ends with that like. I just think they're really fun. So I said newbie because I didn't read the comic books. But I like every time I read it, I go on like Reddit and read all the things that I was supposed to know to really appreciate it.
So wait, so John, you're more of an expert than you thought. And Laurel, you're more of a newbie than you thought.
I like to think we met in the middle.
I think that's exactly what's happening. I think that's exactly what's happening is we're both somewhere. I think we both have some imposter syndrome.
Or there's variants of us out there that are more newbie for you and more expert, a little bit more, there's different versions of us out there. Then hopefully the timelines never cross and the TVA doesn't.
All right. So we are meeting in the middle, Benjamin Button style. But let's talk about variants and time travel. So like this movie is called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This is our speculative podcast. So like let's go to Laurel. Laurel, what could you even fathom is going to happen in this film?
Okay, well, so here's what we know. We know Wanda's going to be in it.
Oh, yes.
We know, and if we watch WandaVision, we know that she has fucked with people's perceptions of reality and created her own reality, manipulating others in space and time, right? Mm-hmm. And that's through like temporal manipulation and like fucking with people's heads. And she like was punished for this. There apparently looks like they sent her to like a farm.
Oh, she sent herself.
Oh, I have so many.
She sent herself to a farm.
I have so many thoughts on that farm. I have so many thoughts on that farm.
What do you think about the farm? Because in my mind, I didn't know she sent herself to a farm, and I was like, is she just gonna run an apple orchard now? Because that's what it looks like.
So, I mean, those farms, and what we see her doing, she's pruning branches, right? Like, and it's like, that's what they call timeline, branches of timeline. And like, they kind of look the same. Like all the trees look the same, but then when you get closer, you realize they're like, it's like, I was just like, it's like dripping with symbolism. Like, you know what I mean? And she's pruning and it's like taking time with it. And I was like, oh, I love it. I love that they show us that. And then they show us later and it's all red and weird. And she makes a really good point that like hints to the fact, she says something where you were cheered and I was punished for doing the same thing or something, right?
Okay, so it looks like we're on Wanda right now. So my question for Wanda, do you feel, because I was getting something like villainous energy from the trailer. So I'm like wondering, but we're also dealing with like multiverses and variants. So like, are we seeing another version of Wanda who is going to cause harm to folks? Or is it our Wanda? Is she going fully dark side?
I think it's our Wanda.
Really?
I think we're going to have a couple of bad guys that are different variants. Like I think that will, and I don't know if she'll be the big bad, but I think she will be our version of Wanda that we know.
Doing naughty things.
Being pissed and mad and like revengeful and Magneto-like justified anger. Which may be her father. We don't know. We don't know.
We don't know. Look at you, Jeff. Like, I don't read the comic books. Okay. This is only something you can get from the comic books, John.
But I'm an X-Men guy, and there's been no. It's like I've read the comic books of X-Men, I should say.
Yes.
So I know X-Men, but I don't know any of the Avengers and stuff.
Can we say, as long as we're talking about X-Men right now, the one moment where it's like it's a bald guy and he's from the back in the trailer. Do we think that is Sir Patrick Stewart?
I don't think we think. I think we know.
I say.
I don't think it's. Do you think it's I think it's like his voice is so.
It's so clear.
We know We know. I think they're just like, this is exactly who it is. There's no mystery.
But it's like, but then it's like the question of like, you know, are we just going to see like a roulette wheel of, you know, cameos, or is he like actually going to be a major player in this movie?
He is. So so there's something called the Illuminati, right? Which is like a council of superheroes that
Beyonce and Jay-Z are in it.
This is another comic book that's not X-Men.
I know. Okay. So I did some research on this. Okay. So like the Illuminati is like the most powerful, in theory, versions of certain mutants and superheroes. And there is a Mr. Fantastic, whose name is Dr. Not Ruby Ridge. It's not it.
I don't.
Richard Reed, right?
Reed Richards.
That's
Reed
the shoe
Richards.
bomber. Okay. Richard Reed is the shoe bomber. Reed Richards, which they think is going to be. Do we know do you ever heard who they think that's going to be in the movie?
No.
John Krasinski.
No.
I don't.
Yes.
Oh,
it's supposed to be Professor X because he's like, you know, a level 5, whatever.
Oh yeah, mutant. Level 5. Yep.
Tony Stark, and which they think it's going to be a different version of Tony Stark.
I've heard like Tom Cruise. I've heard that rumor.
Yes.
Wait, Tom Cruise is going to be in the Marvel universe?
And if you notice when Doctor Strange is getting taken to the Illuminati, when you see Patrick Stewart in that huge council, he's being taken by a bunch of Iron Man robots. and so like I think this version of reality is the version where Tony Stark succeeds in putting a suit of armor around the world.
Man,
Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Yes.
John, you're a total novice.
I guess I didn't really pay attention to the newbie expert thing. I didn't realize how important that was to the structure of this. I'm very sorry.
No, I
was just like, oh yeah, I'm a newbie. I'm not an expert in anything. Like, you're just, like I never would ever.
It does feel like you're trolling my podcast, but that's not.
No. I guess I didn't really read the form. I was like, newbie. Yeah. That's. Like, I also feel like what's like. I would never call myself an expert. Like this is a test. So this is the council, which I don't know. I truly just read about this on the internet. Like I don't. I have no history of this. And there's a couple other really strong mutants, and I think they're going to be like almost like from Loki, the TVA, those councils who run things. I think Kang. I think we'll see. I do think we will see a version of Kang from Loki in this movie. I think
yes, Laura.
can I say, one of the things that I really appreciate about the Marvel Universe is, and I mean, all of like thematically, of course, and all like, you know, comic books and superhero shit, it's always, you know, about the bigger picture and like identity, whatever it is, like it's always about something bigger. I love how they're kind of explicitly getting into like, these are the powers that be. This is how the universe functions. Like, like, and mapping it out in such detail, like the TVA, I was like, this is, what if this is real? What if this is real?
Yeah. And it makes sense. They make it make sense enough in the universe, and they honor and I think they honor those rules, which I think why we like it. And I love in the same vein, I love how Wanda is stronger than other people.
Yes.
Like, and it's not, they don't, and you think worse movies would try to make all the superheroes equal power. So it's like a true teamwork, right? Like, but they're like, no. She is justifiably more powerful
than anybody.
You know, Captain Marvel is justified. Like, there's certain ones that we know are the good ones. And I love how they don't run from that. I love how they embrace it as part of the world, and they deal with what is it like if someone is the strongest mutant, because there's going to be a strongest mutant out there. I love what that does to the society and the rules of the universe. I love that they do that, and I don't think like Star Wars kind of hints at it, but oftentimes Star Wars will be like, but they're kind of, you know, there's Yoda and Darth Vader, but everyone else is kind of, you know.
And then they get into like the human part of it too, of like what happens when that person who we accept is the strongest like superhero experiences like incredible trauma and grief.
Ooh, this
like,
is
what is that?
Yeah, and this is a perfect time. I'm going to be the voice of the what if viewers, since not everyone has seen it.
I didn't see it.
But so in the cartoon series, What If, it's like all these multiverses, basically. Every episode is like, what if this Marvel superhero went down a different path?
Yes.
And for the Doctor Strange episode, which I think we're going to see this in the movie, we see a version of Doctor Strange where in the car accident where he damages his hands. In this universe, he's driving with the Rachel McAdams character, Christine, and she dies. And he still turns to magic, becomes, you know, the Sorcerer Supreme, but he's like hungry for more magic to try and change time, to the point where he's like going to other dimensions and stealing powers from other versions of himself to make him.
He's going to do what she wanted in Division.
Yeah. But in the trailer, you know, when Chiwetel Ejiofor says like, the greatest threat to humanity is you, and we see this dark version of Doctor Strange, I think that's the version of Doctor Strange from the cartoon. I think that's what we're seeing.
100%. And I also think he's dead.
Ooh.
So I think, because when in the trailer we see Doctor Strange when he's brought to that sanctum, midway through the trailer, there's a huge statue of Doctor Strange, and it's an eviler version, and it looks like it's a monument to someone who and I think like Doctor Strange showing up on this timeline is like, oh, we thought he was dead, because that statue looks like. And there was also like I did see a screenshot of What If, the city of What If in the cartoon version, and they did a screenshot of the trailer of that city, and it was very similar. Wow. Like it was very like, oh, there's this has to be connected because it's like a replica. And I think you're right. And I do think I think Rachel McAdams' character will be weirdly important in this in a way that we don't think of her. Like, she's an afterthought to the Doctor Strange because they never had her in the any of the Avengers. Like her and Natalie Portman were just like, see you later.
Yeah.
We can't afford you, Natalie. And secondly, like Rachel McAdams was like, I'm available, and she's like, nah, we're cool. Like, don't do your
Rach.
And like we're a big Rachel McAdams household. You have no idea. My wife's big Rachel McAdams head, and so but like I do think she will be very important to the story. Watching the trailer, I don't know how they make a single movie out of this. Like it looks so crazy and so much stimuli and so many cameos and they're introducing new characters and I haven't seen the Spider-Man movie.
You haven't?
Because I haven't been to theaters. I'm afraid of COVID, but it comes out the 22nd and I can't wait. And so, but didn't they film? It was supposed to be Doctor Strange released first. And then due to COVID, they had to switch the release dates. So they had to do a ton of rewrites.
Oh shit. I hadn't heard that.
Apparently.
I didn't know that, because So in my head, I don't want to. And Damon, you've seen Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I understand we're on a podcast, and if I get spoiled, it's on me. But if you can couch it in any sort of,
good luck,
I'd be very grateful.
And I'm gonna really do my best here.
Yeah, and if you do more, because it's my fault. I'm not gonna
give away. I'm gonna try not to give away anything that isn't in the trailer for this Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I think I have an idea of what happens.
So it's basically like, Spidey's like, hey, can you change this? Like, I don't want people to know that I'm Spider-Man.
After Mysterio.
Yes,
yeah.
it's all in the trailer. So, and then the multiverse essentially cracks open, and everybody who knows about Peter Parker in every universe starts to come into their universe, right? Because he's like, I don't want them to know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And so everyone who knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man starts coming into into their universe. And Doctor Strange is like, at the helm of this multiverse fucking with itness. And so I won't spoil how it ends, but we can imagine that, Doctor Strange has to do some real shit to fix this, right?
Yeah.
And so in my mind, the Multiverse of Madness, the trailer makes it seem like it's a direct consequence of the fucking with the multiverse, right?
Yes.
So the idea that like one would like the other one that Doctor Strange will come first.
Feels insane,
like, how
right?
could they have rewritten that much and reshot that much?
But then
it makes me think it was a WandaVision thing, right? Like WandaVision would have had like that would have been I'm trying to think of what would be the inciting incident, or him giving the stone to Tony Stark. I think will be also something that
could have done
will come back. Mm-hmm. I think like that act is going to be viewed. I think we're going to revisit that.
Yes.
Act a lot.
So two things. That's really interesting to find out about the rewrites, because that actually does make sense. Because I don't think it's a spoiler to say Doctor Strange takes a sabbatical through most of Spider-Man. He's in the beginning and then he comes back in the end. I'll just say that. So that makes sense to me. I think that was their workaround. Like, let's just take him completely out of this.
Yeah, because he isn't in it that much.
And then to help us transition into talking about Doctor Strange, I think it is interesting. Everyone in this trailer is like, oh, you've really fucked up Strange. And when you look at it, he only messes things up. Like he messed with the time stone in the first movie. He gave the stone to Thanos in Infinity War. And for my money, he's the reason Tony Stark is dead. There, I said it. And then he did the mess with Spider-Man. Like he's never not fucked up. I'll just say that.
Which is funny because he's one of the most. It's an insane amount of tragic hubris, but he's such an asshole that that his confidence never slips.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does a great job of playing that. I mean, him and Tony. The fact that they were so smart to put him and Tony Stark together immediately, and it's like, oh, you guys are the same fucking dude. Yeah. Like, sorry for cussing, same dude. Like you in magic and you in science, you believe the same thing. Like, it's like, and no one tells you. And it's like when he's like, unlike everyone else in your life, I don't work for you. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, and I do think I will push back on he's the reason Tony Stark's dead is because I think taking the stone to Titan was insane. Like, and I think his instincts of getting the stone away from Thanos as much as possible was probably the right version.
Yeah.
But I think Tony Stark's, ever since he went to that portal, he had to die. He had to be.
Because it's like Tony Stark is so much more like, how do I fix it? How do I fix it? How do I fix it? And like Doctor Strange is like, how do I prevent it? How do I prevent it? How do I prevent it?
Yes.
Like,
that's a great way to. Mm-hmm. And then when Tony Stark wants to prevent it with the suit of armor during Civil War, Ultron. But then in Civil War, he's like, I went too far with Ultron. Like there is like self-reflection that I feel like we have not seen from Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he hasn't done his Ultron. I think this is his Ultron for Doctor Strange is probably.
Can we take 2 seconds to talk about Ultron and how I think it's underappreciated?
Please, because I wanted to wipe it from my memory.
Have you watched it recently?
No. And if I did, I was probably very stoned.
I think it's really, I think if you look at it as an Avengers movie, it's going to fail. But I do think if you look at it as like a connector of getting us from point A to point B and character development stuff, like I feel like it does a great job of getting us to Civil War and getting us to, like, I feel like it's used as like a vehicle to get us where we need to be. and I think James Spader is truly fantastic in it.
Oh,
and I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm like, I'm fine with everything. I'm fine with everything they do. Like, I love it. Like, it gets me there. When Vision picks up, they don't trust Vision. All he has to do is pick up Mjolnir, and he's like, "Oh, we got him now. He's a good guy."
That moment is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I like it. I do like, even though and I like the fights. I like it all.
They do a good job of like the further we get into Marvel, it's like everything returns to that Age of Ultron movie. Like, that's when we meet Wanda and Vision. That's their first movie. Sokovia Accords. I think, that end shot with everyone's in terrible costumes, but like we see the new Avengers with like Falcon and War Machine.
Yeah. What is up with those costumes? I'm with you on that. It's like distracting. And Wanda looks insane in that last shot. Like, it looks like her entire face and body is like CGI. Yeah, it's really weird.
And she's a Scarlet Witch, and she is fully orange.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think Ultron is like clearly the worst Avengers. Like, in Civil War, probably should be considered the second Avengers movie. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's in our hearts, but I want to give it a little bit of love. It's worth the rewatch.
You heard it here first, folks. John Sabine is an
Ultra guy.
An Ultron stan.
Give me those Sokovia. It all comes. We need it. It weighs so heavily. I think it weighs just as heavy as the first one.
Speaking of weighing heavy, we have a lot of things that are weighing on our minds right now. So we're going to take a break to think about it. That's a good transition. And we'll be right back with more maddening thoughts about the Multiverse of Madness and Doctor Strange. Stick around.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. We read one book a month and then we talk about it. Books like Stephen King's The Shining or Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. If you're on the hunt for book recommendations and enjoy sparkling conversation, come read along with us and then listen in.
Hello, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of the Producing While Asian podcast. Join us to listen in on conversations with everyone who identify from producers to non-producers who all are part of the AAPI community. There's all that and more on the Producing While Asian podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hi, my name is Sam Post, owner of Phenomwell CBD store and PhenomwellCBD.com. That's like phenomenal, CBD.com. Tune in where we talk with experts about how the amazing hemp plant can make a difference for people's health and well-being from the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. Everybody loves Jordan. So the first thing I want to talk about, like characters picking up, because I also recently rewatched the first Doctor Strange movie, and I had forgotten how Chiwetel Ejiofor's character, Mordu. He was like,
what's his full title in the first one? I
have no idea.
I think it's Baron.
Of course, it's a Baron. I was going to say a tight ass.
So say what you're going to say, but I just want to point out that he has a title that it's Baron Murder in the
not
first
our first Baron in the MCU, but I will say I just was surprised. I had forgotten that they were really setting him up to be the villain of the sequel, and now I'm like watching this trailer. I'm like, how is he going to have time to do anything?
Yeah.
So I think he is
the villain,
and I think they released the toys for this movie.
He knows the toys.
And his character name on the toy is Master. It's not Baron.
Ooh.
So
Master Mordu?
And it looks like he's running that what's that land that they study in? Like
not Shangri-La, but
no, but like it's like that. Whatever that land is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not the Sorcerer Supreme, but he's basically running it like she did. And so like, because of that toy, like they think that he's going to be also very instrumental and threatened by Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah.
Because truly, I just watched it right before this, and I was surprised. I was like, did I miss him in any of the other movies that have come out since then? Because they really made it seem like he was going to be a big player in the universe, like in the Marvel universe.
he should have been in the Avengers. It's like he should have been at that last battle, right?
Can we? I guess I would assume he was there. We just didn't see him, which I'm a big Lost fan, and they did that a lot of the times. We're like, oh yeah, they were there. They were just in the background.
Even in Endgame, because they show they showed the kid from Iron Man 3 or whatever, who is grown up now, and they were just like asking us to like be like, you know who this kid is, right? He's an adult now. Like, I don't think if they show you, I don't think it's a lost thing. I think they're so purposeful with their people. He was not. I think he was absent from the Endgame.
Huh?
What was he doing?
We haven't seen him.
Maybe he had he just got snapped back, and he was like, I need time.
And was he even snapped to begin with? We don't even know if he died.
I feel like every movie has to at least address who was snapped. Were you snapped? Who got snapped?
I need to know that. I need to know who snapped. I really do. And I would not have left Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America if I snapped. Those were the first three I would get rid of. I wouldn't leave the leaders. That's insane.
Yeah. Okay, so we're saying that Chiwetel may be the villain in this one. Other people, John, you definitely wanted to talk about America Chavez. Could you, as a newbie, could you tell us who she is?
So that's the thing. She's a character who I don't really know that much about, but I did some research for this. And so she was supposed to be the person in Spider-Man who she has powers of transporting people through dimensions, super strength and invulnerability. Apparently she's like she's very powerful. She's like one of the also big, powerful ones compared to other mutants. But she was going to be the one who got people to and from different dimensions in the Spider-Man.
Oh, shit.
Apparently the newest one. And again, I haven't seen it, so I'm guessing this is just reading. Some nerd could be wrong.
Nerds are never wrong. Just want to confirm, she's a mutant, you said, in the comics?
She is a mutant, right, in the comics, and she's a newer mutant, right? She's relatively new in the comic book world, I think, and I'm pretty sure she is a mutant, unless she's like an Eternal or a Celestial or something. Like because I think if your power is going through dimensions, you're not just a mutant.
Yeah,
like you're like, you know what I mean?
Some
like
kind of you have the power to affect like time and dimensions and everything.
Yeah, like.
You're not like
Professor X.
Yeah, I'm not just going to turn into a blue lizard lady.
Exactly, right? Like it's like, I'm not just going to. I'm not going to be able to create weather.
Yeah. Oh, lasers come out of my eyes. No, everybody who is dead is alive again.
But they've done a great job of not showing us her powers.
No, and that's why I'm like, because famously mutants. There's a separation of mutant and Avengers because of, legal reasons and money and
Sony, like because of legality, right? Like it's because of that.
Can I say, and again, I know I'm the expert here, but I'm a little confused as to how this is all allowed, like how the mutants are now coming in and everything. Like I didn't know that this was in the works. I didn't know.
Great question. I truly believe it's like a high tide rises all boats.
Wow.
Like, and I do think when they bought Marvel, it was like, we're retaining, all the X-Men. You can have these guys.
Yeah.
And now I think it's like, oh, they bought Marvel. And I don't know if it was like in so many years you will get access to it, or if it's just like, oh, hey, we'll rent you Wolverine, right? Like,
are the mutants in public domain yet?
Like, and it's weird because Universal owns the rights to everything for theme parks.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Which has been a problem for the new Marvel, like Disney stuff, right? Like that's like a thing. It's really weird. It's like the Hulk isn't at Disney. You can't have the Hulk. You can have like Thor. It's super weird.
Strange.
You love the Hulk. That's
this
crazy.
Is my roommate's actually, but this is my dear listener. It's a mug. It's a Hulk mug.
It's a mug of the Hulk mug. But if you have a Hulk mug, you like it.
That's your favorite.
You have to ask your favorite, like who I do not care for.
Snooze fest. If you ask me about Bruce, snooze fest.
I don't like the Hulk.
What happened to him? What happened to him and Natasha? The romance was dead.
That's where I'm like, you like Age of Ultron? Because that's a lot of Age of Ultron is Natasha and the Hulk.
It is. Natasha. I kept come full circle on her.
We all had to.
I've come full circle. I love Black Widow. I'm like the one guy who loved it.
I like Black Widow. It was
a Jason Bourne movie. It was great.
You're talking to the wrong people, John Sabine.
Okay, good. Because people are like, it's always rated worse. But America Chavez is her name, right? And I'm interested because we only see her being saved and being tortured, which is interesting to me.
Welcome to the universe, America.
I mean, I mean, so many. But like, and I think it's interesting because if she is regarded as really powerful, it's interesting to me that they don't show, like she gets saved, a car's coming at her, he cuts it in half, and then she's like being torn apart
when he's like holding her as they're flying through. Yeah. And you can tell it's America Chavez because she has a distinctive jean jacket with an American flag on the back. So I think that's how everyone was like, that's her. Cause that's like her comic book outfit that she always wears. So we've got her. I mean, I don't know much about the character, but I'm excited to learn. I was just saying, not just saying, I mean, that was weeks ago. What am I talking about? Back weeks ago when I was talking about Doctor Strange, I was saying that I enjoyed that Marvel does a good job of introducing new superheroes, especially ones that we don't know, like with Shang-Chi, Black Panther, maybe Captain Marvel. Jury's out on that one.
100% Marvel. Oh, but you know, in terms of they did a good job.
Yeah. Other things I wanted to talk to you guys about, like, let's blow this up. Are we going to see Agatha in this movie?
And I am an expert, but who's Agatha?
WandaVision.
It's Catherine Hahn. If that's the one character I thought you would like.
Catherine Hahn from WandaVision.
Catherine Hahn in WandaVision.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Honestly, fair answer.
We don't know.
We don't know.
I feel like, okay, can I say something? Because as we were saying earlier, it really does feel like, how are they going to fit all this in here? And I feel like if she were to be in this, it would be like in, you know, a really quickly paced segment of the movie where we're like flashing into different universes.
Yeah. Like when there's like in the preview, they go to like the dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
Like there's like, they go through, I mean, we haven't seen any hints that we'll see her in the same way that we'll see Captain Carter. Like like her shield is in the last like image of when everything's breaking in the glass. So like, it feels like that feels like a pretty big tell. Yeah. We know a Captain Marvel character is in it in the preview, or we know someone who has the same power, and whether that's Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, or Captain Marvel, like we don't know. And it feels like it'll be a Monica Rambeau one because of Wanda, right? Like it feels like
that's the connect.
Yeah, it feels like it feels like we haven't seen that version of Captain Marvel because she takes on the powers and monikers at some point. I hope it's Monica Rambeau. I really do.
Yeah, but I know we've got Monica coming up because Monica left to go do Secret Invasion at the end of WandaVision, I believe.
Is that what happened? I was just trying to remember. Is that what happened?
She gets asked to come to like a abandoned movie theater, and there's like a Skrull alien like, you're needed in space.
Oh yeah,
that's the last we saw of her.
So what?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Can we be real? There's like been a few movies that have ended lately in the Marvel universe that are like, it's the aliens again.
They're back.
But we haven't seen that come to fruition. But the post-credit scenes have like a good chunk have been like, and wait till the aliens get there. Wait till you see the aliens again.
Well, here's a question for you guys. What are you like? Because I feel like Hydra was such a good Earth-based. You know, I even think in Civil War, that guy the Baron, German guy,
the other Baron,
yeah, I think that's a good like man-made, fantastical villain.
Yeah,
and I just hope they don't lose sight of that with all the magic and the space stones. I hope they still have like this is a government official who's just corrupt. Like, and I like that.
That's even though I think we all agreed Falcon and the Winter Soldier was not our favorite. But you know,
I kind of liked it.
If it was one movie, yes, but it was really drawn out.
It was so drawn out. And the only interesting real part was like JLD being in it, and the black super soldier, the guy who's like, why would you take on that? Like that exploration was, I think, like made the whole thing worth it for me. Like I was like, that was cool.
But the plot, like you were saying, is very Earth based, and I'm much more. I think, and I can tie this back to Multiverse of Madness. It's just like I'm not a big fan of magic in superhero stuff because like I like the Earth based. Like I would rather see a billionaire put on a mask and take out organized criminals. Like that's much more what I signed up for. But like,
and magic is more like Lord of the Rings, like that, like
a franchise I cannot stand.
That is crazy.
Let them come get me. I don't like it.
Wow. The most universally beloved trilogy,
hate
I
Hobbits.
think.
I think it's so stupid.
Oh, I'm bored by Hobbits too.
But what about the elves?
Laurel, there's
the elves.
nothing you could say that could change my mind.
What do you say? He's made his. I mean, no one says
It's
that
done.
willy-nilly.
Wow.
But yeah, magic is tough because magic is hard. It's just easy. It's a great, catch-all, right?
And I think it leads to like, this admittedly sporadic conversation, which is great. I like it. It's Multiverse of Madness, but
This is a multiverse podcast right now. There's no
It
through
really
line.
is. We're just
Absolutely
like, what do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this one time.
Yeah.
The shiny thing.
Yeah.
this was shiny. Do you like the shiny? But it's like, yeah. So it's like, I don't even, what is, maybe we'll end here. Like, what is the plot of this movie? Like, what is, if you could sum up in one sentence, what would you say the plot of this movie is going to be?
Y'all can't see John's eyes, but they.
I think it's going to be that if you play God too much, even things that you think are going to help, no one should play God. Like, I think it's going to be the same thing like Thanos. Like, who are you to decide? You don't get to decide what happens. Like, and whether that's Doctor Strange doing that to the Illuminati group that's running things, or whether it's Doctor Strange realizing it himself that like, I shouldn't have played God. And I think like there'll be some aspect of like, but if love exists, that's the only thing that's true. I do think there'll be like
love.
Like love is human, like connection will be the thing that transcends space and time. And I believe that will be with Rachel McAdams. I think there'll be some sort of that.
Rachel McA. Laurel, any thoughts of?
I will also say that I think that Rachel A will be the grounding force in the film because she looks like she's getting married in the thing.
Yeah, and he's not there, and not to him.
And so I think that will be the narrative arc of like his character emotional arc will be woven into his love for her and whether or not he's going to like choose her or learn from like their relationship and how he's fucked up.
Oh, wow.
I think that will be like beginning, middle, end in the movie.
You're saying Rachel's going to be the through line, which I guess you're saying that too, John, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I think she'll be the thing that like when he's going to lose, she'll like say, just walk through the door or something and he'll do it. Like, like the door.
Because as much as we talk about how magic is an easy little fixer-upper in these movies, they sure do make the power of love and family just do a whole lot of heavy lifting.
Do you think they do a good job with that kind of stuff?
I do. I do.
I say no.
Like what's an example of you saying, what's example of yes, what's example of no?
Laurel.
Okay. In my mind, and if I can also be honest, I did for a second think that Interstellar was a Marvel movie.
Don't.
Could you imagine?
That's our expert, everybody.
Matthew McConaughey needs to be in this. Has he not been in the Marvel Universe yet?
He should be in the universe.
He'd be a good new Magneto.
He'd be a great like guy on a planet in a Guardians movie, right?
Like Kurt Russell in that one.
Yeah, he's like, come on, we got cocktails. Like,
but if honestly, I would say out of all the films, the ones that I think tap into that the most are the Spider-Man movies. I think that the Spider-Man movies are very much like, no, like my family loves me, I'm going to do this for them, or like it's a lot of moments of like you can't trick me anymore because like he's got the power of love behind him. Like I think that a lot of those are like, with great power comes great responsibility from like my dead family member, whoever it may be. Like a lot of the power of the characters comes from the love of their family members. You know what I'm saying?
I see. Okay. So that I do see, but the love is there, but I'm talking about the love in. And there's not a lot of loving in these movies. Like, but there's this implied, like,
what's the premier love story in these movies, in the all Avengers movies? Like, what's like a love, like the number one love story? Like, is there one?
The one they keep pushing is Captain America and Peggy.
Man, and I think Gamora and Star-Lord is more only because we see them together more. Like, in it, like, and it's like he freaks out and almost ruins everything because of Gamora being dead and like,
yeah.
I'm trying to think, but there isn't much. Like
There's the Hulk.
there isn't much.
There's the hope.
And then he gets too big and he'll crush her, so they don't even tell.
Yeah.
Like he's like, yeah, I put the brains of the brawn, and like now we can't get together because I will murder you. Like,
and like this couple, Doctor Strange and Christine, it's like I've said this before. What is it? What did I say? I find them. Oh my God, Jordan, edit the stammering out.
no, keep it in. Keep it in, Jordan.
I find them I find them compelling, but not complementary to each other.
Yes. And I think that's actors. I think that's the actors.
Oh, do you think there's like chemistry? There's
I
a
just
chemistry.
don't think, I think it's super weird that Rachel McAdams did The Notebook, and then I feel like her, which was like palpable chemistry, like palpable love story chemistry. And I don't know if maybe because we saw it so amazing, like black tar chemistry, that everything else seems like she's faking
black
it.
tar
like
chemistry.
It's just like, high concentration.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, there's not diluted with other stuff. It's like good stuff. And I think it's so funny because I do think every other thing I've seen her in, I'm just kind of like, you don't really love this person. You don't have that. You're not Julia Roberts or Sandra Bullock, where I believe you fall in love and every time, right? Like you just don't have that. And it might be a Canadian thing. Like they don't have,
Shots fired.
They're a little bit more, just a little bit more reserved. Like they're not flighty. They got their lives together. And so but I do think there's been a dearth of romantic love besides like, I think you're right. Familial love is like the overwhelming. Yeah. Even Peggy, there's nothing hot and heavy about Peggy and Kat.
No, yet
they kiss like once.
Yeah, and yet he turned time inside out to be with her again.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like they danced. Like it's so innocent. Like Thor and Jane. Also, there's nothing there. Like,
there's nothing there.
It should be. Thor should have like a sex monster he's with, right? Like it should be like palpable and sparks flying.
But it's his love for his brother that's his motivator, and his love for his father that's his motivator. It's familial love.
Yes.
Familial love.
And Wanda and Vision, I think, is the second. Wanda, I think that's probably the premier.
That is yes.
Which they feel like romantic love, like sexual love. It's like,
but she lost her brother and family. He lost, man, damn.
Technically, he killed his father of Ultron, which.
But if we're talking Multiverse of Madness, investing in Rachel McAdams as the end all be all, like in the first movie, which again I just watched today, I think for me there's a line towards the beginning where he's like, "We're not friends, we're barely even lovers."
And it's like,
and I was like, okay, thanks. I now understand the dynamic here. And then watching the rest of the movie, I was like, why do I care about this woman?
Well, y'all, I think we hit it a while ago.
Did we ever get close to it?
I think we grazed it.
All right, cool.
We have to bring this conversation to an end. And much like the actual conversation, there is no end because we haven't seen the movie. If you are listening to this right now, looking at my calendar, it's May 2nd. Happy May. It's going to be May. So this movie is coming out this Friday, May 6th. Please go and see it. Reach out to me. I dare you. Let me know what you think of the movie. John and Laurel, will you be watching it anywhere?
Yeah, I haven't been to a movie theater yet. I think I need to get over it because I really want to see this.
A Marvel movie is a great way to break that.
The seal of COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Spider-Man couldn't get me to do it, but I think this will get me to do it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And Laurel?
I will go see it. And also, John, just a FYI, you can rent out a whole movie theater for $100. Most of them have a deal right now.
That's true. I've been a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
You can rent out a whole movie theater, so just you and your family or friends can go for like $100.
For $100? Mm-hmm. What? I'll do that that's like barely more expensive than bringing a date.
I did it for my dad's birthday. I was like, we're gonna go see a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at like crazy times, right? Like it's not like at Friday night.
No, it's like the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna get a party going.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. Laurel Zoff Pelton, little expert over here about movies.
What can
I say? Well, let's go to everyone's favorite part of the podcast, the plugs. John Sabine, where can people find you if they wanted to?
Don't ever find me. I'm doing truly nothing right now. But you can find me on Twitter at jsabine214. But it's not very good.
The funniest person I know, next to Laurel Zoff Pelton.
Very bad.
Yeah,
That's
and
fair.
you can find me on Instagram, Laurel ZP. It does make me very anxious when I'm on there, but when I do post, it seems to go over well. It goes over pretty well. And yeah, I'm in Minnesota. So if you're in Minnesota right now, come say hi. Look me up on that Insta, and I'd love to make some new friends and do some stuff here. So let me know.
I love that. Man, I love that I have you two are so talented and fun, but you are so humble or doubt yourself so much. Oh my gosh. Follow them. These are the funniest people I know.
Yeah.
These are the best people in the world.
Very doubt. Yeah.
I'm so mad at both of you.
Yeah. I mean, I will
You
say,
have both
I
made
think,
me pee my pants. And then you made me laugh.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. There you go.
I will say, I think that John and I will say, I think are two very, very kind and talented people. And
thank you.
I would agree.
Sure. I have some work, existing is problematic, but I'm doing my best.
And no one said anything about me. But you could find me on Instagram. No,
let's be clear.
No, please. But if you had to,
you were talented and kind, and also talk about being not knowing how good you are. That's David. Truly, I hope one day we can go in a new multiverse where we're just like cocky and confident.
We're gonna say shirtless.
Shirtless. Everyone's shirtless. Sorry, Zoff Pelton. We're going shirtless.
I can put him out there.
Let's do it. Gotta pay the rent.
Oh my God.
Gas ain't free.
We gotta wrap up. Thank you so much to my producer, Jordan Powell. Jordan, what did you think of this episode?
I think that John was sandbagging the whole time. He clearly knows way more than what he led off to. But it was a great guy.
That's my man, Jay.
I think you're right. I didn't realize. I thought I was like, I'm being honest. I'm being sincere. I was like, I don't know anything. I think I need to realize I know a lot.
Believe in yourself, buddy. You got it. You're very
You also got to
brave.
remember,
That's
John, your
okay.
mind is a palace. So when you do a little bit of research, I think you do more than you think.
I was like, I gotta read. That's why I read a bunch last night.
Well, that is our show. Please go see Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. I've been your host, Damon Royster, and always remember that with great power comes great responsibility.